There are some times and there are some people that we look to as a beacon of light, a beacon of hope, kind of a guiding light through some storms. One of the reasons that I would watch MSNBC is simply for the fact of they would present the news in a way that wasn't necessarily biased on the conservative side, and it wasn't necessarily biased on the liberal side. It was maybe a little bit more towards the liberal side, but it was what I considered a fair assumption of political views. It wasn't dressed or laced to appease any one party or any particular person or race. Back in 2017, I think I ran into Joy Reid on TV or listening to her on the radio in the car on Sirius. And I found her commentating pleasing, enlightening. It was joyful, as she called her show, AM Joy. And I said, I have to see this lady. And I never forget once she was on the air and some person on there thought they were gonna dust her, and she smoked them. And I don't mean smoking them by being rude or nasty or using derogatory terms. Or some people, the only thing they know how to do if they don't have an argument, they insult. She nailed them with facts that they didn't understand, but she did, and she knew how to lay it out. And I have to admit, right after the election, I was one of those that kind of stopped watching MSNBC simply for the fact I, to this day, don't believe that it was fair what happened. And I was a little disgusted. And as we can see, what's going on right now in our country, this is not what you call a country coming together. This is a mess. A country being torn apart by people who really don't even represent the majority of the people in this country. So anyway, MSNBC gave me that little glimpse, and part of it was seeing people that looked like me, as in Joy Reid. You still have Richard Steele, who presents himself in another way, and they still have the other commentator. But Joy Reid was different in a sense that she stood on her own. She stood flat-footed. She didn't need support of anyone. She could run her own show, and she could definitely stick it to Tookums. And when I saw that they cut her show, I am thinking, this is a bit much. This is really getting to be interesting how things are getting biased. Which way are we going? What's going on? Are we leaning towards to where the media is being controlled? And that's when I'm starting to think, okay, now is it to the case where the only media that we can really trust is what we can find online, myself included, to represent what's going on, what's the pulse of the people? Just my thoughts on Joy Reid. I will miss her show. And Joy, jump on here. People will support you here, and I hope you find another outlet. But I think it's the point that we, as a people, all people, I'm not talking about any race, color, or creed, or religion, or sexual bias, or sexual whatever. We need to support what's right and what's in our best interest as a whole, as we can clearly see that we're not represented in what the polls are saying. Some thoughts on Joy Reid. Thank you. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your thoughtful commentary. And you win the day for me.